Governor John Bel Edwards has called the recent spate of cyber attacks in Louisiana, quote, the new normal.
And that is the topic of this week's commentary by Eyewitness News political analyst and Gambit columnist Clancy Dubose.
A recent cyber attack has relegated New Orleans City Hall to the age of paper and ink, possibly till next year. While city services slow to a scrawl, police and the feds are working to find out who launched the attack. Now, there is some good news. City officials reacted in time to prevent more damage by unplugging computers quickly after detecting the attack. Governor Edwards says this is the new normal. Other recent cyber attacks hit 2 sheriff's offices and the State Office of Motor Vehicles. Cyber attacks now disrupt Americans where we live, work, and vote. It's a national security threat that all members of Congress and the President need to take more seriously than ever.
This has been an expression of opinion by Clancy Dubose. Email your thoughts to commentary@WWLTV.com.